Hey, readers. This is Reading Roleplay. So one of the things I wanted to do on this channel is look at some actual plays, sort of critique them, hopefully provide, I guess, what could pass for advice. I don't know, something constructive. Going to take them for what they are, obviously. I mean, they're not really meant to be accurate representations of someone's home game. They're made for entertainment, typically. There are people out there, I think, who just record their home games and put them up there. Um, but most of them aren't, they're productions. So in anticipation of that, because I'm going to look at some actual plays of Darkness Beneath the Hill, which is from the Call of Cthulhu Doors to Darkness anthology, I wanted to look at that and read the background so we can kind of all know kind of what to expect. And obviously spoilers, if you want to play this scenario, don't listen to this video because I'm going to read the whole backdrop of it. So anyway, Doors to Darkness is an adventure anthology designed for beginning keepers. So, in particular, Darkness Beneath the Hill is relatively linear. It's kind of meant to introduce people to Call of Cthulhu who aren't used to playing those kind of games. So it's got a little bit of dungeon crawliness to it, and there's not, you can't really go too far off the reservation, as it were. As far as the plot, no, obviously if you have enough player agency, if you're allowed to have enough player agency, you can just not engage with it and say, I'm not going down there, and just, I'm out. That's always a possibility. But beyond that, it's pretty linear. I do recommend this anthology. It's well, I mean, unless you are more experienced, you just want to jump into the deep end, you go with one of the larger campaign books. But this is a good place to start, and some of these can be woven into existing campaigns as well. So here it is. This is second adventure in the book, Darkness Beneath the Hill, written by Christopher Smith Adair. Introduction. This scenario is suitable for 2 to 6 investigators, although with a little modification it can be run for a single player. The events can take place in any season of any year during the 1920s and can be moved to other eras with a minimum of effort. The investigators are contacted by an associate, Josh Winscott, who has recently discovered a tunnel beneath his cellar. I don't think you'd want to run this as a one-on-one scenario, because man, it would be really hard to justify going down there alone. If there's 3 or 4 of you, I think it just makes more sense, especially with what Josh is trying to accomplish. So I wouldn't really recommend that. I mean, if you do that, at least have some NPCs there to lend a hand. So we're going to continue here. Keeper information. Oh, by the way, I guess I should have said this up top, but if you're still here, trigger warning. The background of the scenario deals a lot with slavery, so be forewarned. Okay, the placid city of Providence, Rhode Island, still retains much of its historical charm. The legacy of New England from the colonial period forward can be experienced through its charming architecture and antiquities. Not all of this history is as fondly remembered or cherished, however. Rhode Island was the only New England colony to use slaves for both trade and labor. After the American Revolution, Rhode Island remained important to the slave trade, even after the state began the process of emancipation and outlawed the trade itself in 1787. John Brown, a wealthy merchant and politician, was tried in 1797 for violating that law in the Slave Trade Act of 1794. His acquittal demonstrated the laws might exist, but their enforcement was another matter entirely. Gradually, things changed. Rhode Island was the first state to respond to President Lincoln's call for troops, and it desegregated its schools in 1866. By the 1920s, there are, however, those who desire to keep Rhode Island racially pure, and the years after the Great War have seen an increase in membership of the Ku Klux Klan. Over the years, there have been rumors that slavers constructed tunnels from the wharves of Canal Street to their mansions on College Hill so as to circumvent the laws. And now, a local writer named Josh Winscott believes he may have found the truth behind the legends in his own basement. There are tunnels beneath Providence, but these are far older than anyone suspects. The Serpent People created these caverns and tunnels in the wake of the fall of their first empire during the Age of Dinosaurs. After a brief resurgence during the early years of humanity, many of the Serpent People fled back to the safety of the depths. The civilization of the Serpent People declined, and many of them went into hibernation, dreaming of a time when they would reawaken and rule the earth once more. When the anti-slavery laws began to be enacted, many slavers worried that their livelihood was in jeopardy. One slave trader, Elijah Winscott, thought it was a stroke of good fortune when the construction of a drainage tunnel beneath his new property unearthed a pre-existing tunnel. It was wide enough for a group of people to walk through and went in the direction of the river. Winscott had his workers secretly connect the tunnel to the waterfront, but a trial run ended in tragedy. As slaves were marched beneath the city, they were set upon by ghasts, unwholesome bipedal monsters. Some slaves and their captors were slain, but most were dragged further into the depths. When Winscott and his men searched the tunnel for the whereabouts of his human cargo and their overseers, all they found were hideously dismembered corpses. They hurriedly sealed up the ends of the passage. Far below the earth, the captives became slaves to Sia Rhys, a serpent person sorcerer. Sia Rhys, recently awoken, was still shaking off the effects of a millennia of sleep. The world had changed greatly, and he was displeased to see that humanity still flourished, and that the climate was not more agreeable. He has remained in his caverns, patiently continuing his arcane research, waiting for the right time to restore the greatness of his people. So, I guess we can go through City of Providence too. I want to just go up to sort of the meeting with Josh, and really no further beyond that. Just so we have a really solid foundation for what we're going to watch later. The City of Providence, the capital of Rhode Island, is old. As far as the colonized New World is concerned, it was founded in 1636 by a small group of settlers led by Roger Williams, looking for religious freedom not only from England, but also from the Puritans of the Massachusetts Bay Colony. After the original settlement was established near a freshwater spring in what is now College Hill, it slowly spread out from there until its growth was spurred by the establishment of a wharf in 1680. This wharf became integral to the triangular trade: molasses, rum, and slaves shipped from between the West Indies, Africa, and the American colonies. After the slave trade ended, Providence remained an important seaport. By the late 1800s, it was one of the first cities in the United States to establish industrial manufacturing, and this beehive of industry produced textiles, metals, machinery, jewelry, and silverware. Industrial manufacturing in general slowed down precipitously in the 1920s, but jewelry manufacturing continued to grow. Providence lies at the head of Narragansett Bay, and the Providence River runs through the densely populated city center. Many of Providence's street names recall its history of religious tolerance and maritime trade. Providence is said, like Rome, to be founded on 7 hills. Its downtown area has numerous buildings from the 19th century in Federal, Victorian, and Art Deco styles. The east side still retains buildings in the late Georgian style of the 18th century. Stately old mansions and other houses. Oops. Oh no! Sorry, I hit the wrong button. Stately old mansions and other houses with their fanlights set above double flights of stairs with wrought iron railings, and their gable or gambrel roofs line the hills and hide the modern world. There are some structures even older, such as the oldest Baptist church in the United States, established by Roger Williams 2 years after he founded the settlement. Providence is also a seat of learning, with Brown University, moved to Providence in 1770, and the Rhode Island School of Design, 1877, being the most prominent educational institutions, followed by Rhode Island College and the Roman Catholic Providence College. Meeting with Josh Winscott. Josh Winscott is from proud and once wealthy New England stock. He makes a living writing magazine articles on a variety of subjects, supplemented by occasional short stories. One or more of the investigators might know him from school, through social or professional circles, or perhaps even be related to him. Whatever the case may be, Winscott is friendly with the investigators and trusts them enough to share his discovery with them. Winscott excitedly invites the investigators to his recently inherited house, telling them that he's found something incredible that he wishes for them to see. The house is on College Hill, nestled among other residences surviving from the 18th and 19th centuries. Its 2 stories can be found at 79 Power Street, overgrown bushes and trees obscuring its dilapidation. When the investigators knock, the door creaks open. Investigators calling out for Winscott soon hear an apologetic reply, which sounds like it's coming from below. He shouts up for them to come on in. Soon, Winscott appears from the stairs leading from the basement into the kitchen. The investigators can see tools, debris, boxes, and covered furniture strewn about the house. Winscott invites them to sit down for coffee, while he lights a Turkish cigarette and explains why he's asked them there. During restoration, he discovered that a brick-upped wall in the cellar storage area covered up an extensive tunnel. At first, it appeared to be an old drainage system, but then he found that it connected to a larger corridor. Thinking this might have something to do with the rumored slave tunnels of old, he dismissed the Italian laborers he'd hired. He's been working alone since then, clearing the way so that he, and hopefully the investigators too, can explore the tunnels. He's obviously excited to get started, but admits he's too exhausted as he's been working all day. Exploration should start as early as tomorrow, if the investigators are willing. He asks them to keep the discovery quiet and to come equipped, recommending that everybody bring suitable equipment, like sturdy boots and a rope, a flashlight at least. He doesn't know what the conditions will be like or how far the tunnels extend, however, they should prepare for anything. Winscott is happy to be led by the investigators in the matter of when to begin the exploration, so if anyone wishes to conduct some research before going into the tunnel, then Winscott is prepared to wait. Okay, so that pretty much just brings us up to the beginning of the adventure. And we'll see how different groups handle that and how they parse this background, if they do it at all, in subsequent videos. So, again, I've played this adventure. I think in the right hands, it's awesome. And I do recommend it. I recommend the book in general. Thanks for listening. Catch you in the next one.